Ooh,
Well
it's
done.
another bacon bit. We love these things now.
He just nails that every time. People are going to think it's a recording. That's Joel live
Every
time.
I do the beatboxing and everything. But this is our bacon bit for Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
We like to talk about movies from 1994 or whatever it was.
Games from 1997. Okay.
When did the movie come out? Like 2000?
The original movie came out in 2003 and the sequel in 2005.
Oh, you know this already off the top of your head.
Yeah, Tomb Raider and then Tomb Raider Cradle of Life.
That's right.
I'm a walking IMDb.
Starring
Angelina Jolie.
And?
Daniel Craig and Gerard Butler.
I was going to say doesn't matter, but it's because
No, and John Voight. I mean, do you want me to tell you more?
Oh, and what's his bucket? Jorah Mormont.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Friend Zone from Game of Thrones.
Exactly. He's the bad guy in
All
the first
right,
one.
all right, show-offs.
Yeah, show-offs about our Tomb Raider trivia.
We know how to impress the ladies.
Ladies.
Well, but no, today we're talking about the recent film that came out. I was going to look up the pronunciation of the name, starring Alicia Vikander.
That's very well done. Alicia Vikander.
Yeah.
Exactly.
From Ex Machina, and what else has she been in? I can't even think right now.
So many Oscar movies.
So many Oscar movies.
Great actress.
Great actress.
And she showed it in this movie, which I have not seen, by the way, listeners.
Oh, yeah, by
These
the way,
guys went
Jake has
without
not seen
me.
this.
I cried and begged, but nothing would work. So
Oh,
I
and
stayed at home. I
we got a
sucked my
wonderful-
thumb. It was awkward, but...
We had a wonderful dinner, too, without you. We went to Tucanos, actually, for Joel's birthday
you went
dinner.
to Tucanos?
Ran into Andy
Yeah.
from the
Park Hoppers.
Park Hoppers. I was going to call it Disneyland.
Okay, well, this is getting kind of messed up, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Tucanos.
We got really sick on a lot of meat
We
without
did.
you. And fried bananas.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I really like Tucanos,
But we're not reviewing Tucanos.
We
today.
should. Can we do that instead?
Don't you want to hear about the movie?
Tucanos. It's like a less snobby version of Rodizio.
Indeed.
But no, today we're talking about Tomb Raider. The first little bit is going to be spoiler free. Then we'll get into spoilers. We'll delineate that in a very clear manner.
Yes.
Somehow. I haven't even thought about it yet. Dang it. But
Yeah, think about that in the next
All right,
like
Ken,
4 minutes.
give the synopsis of the.
Yep.
Well, give the.
All right. So I'm going to give a little bit of history as
Review.
well.
We've already done some history.
Okay. The history is there's a game. We talked about the movies, but not the game it's spawned from. So back in 97 on the original PlayStation, there was a game called Tomb Raider starring, Lara Croft, who was like 18 polygons and probably 4 of them in her
Hey,
area.
Kent, what are you doing?
Her area.
No, we're not
That's
doing
more
that.
awkward.
Look, I'm not going to apologize for how I felt about Tomb Raider back in 1997. I was 16.
We can talk about that on a later show.
It was
right
it
now.
was,
We're talking
It's a really
about
strange
this
time in
movie.
my life when 18 polygons were so hot.
Stop.
No, so
Let's never talk about that.
the video game series is all about a lone adventurer. Just
The gestures you're doing with your hands are
It's-
kind of strange.
but they're like that.
Stop.
It's like that. Rated. I mean, it's very
So glad
angular.
we're not a video podcast.
I mean, it like
Okay,
actually
anyway,
gives
so
you
this
like paper
movie,
cuts.
it's basically Indiana Jones was a huge hit. They kind of
Yes.
said, hey, what if we had a female protagonist in Indiana Jones role? So she goes around and solves mysteries and puzzles in all these tombs and doesn't really... She's not really an archaeologist because, man, she destroys everything she sees.
She does.
With her, she has 2 guns that she wears.
double guns
I know you're
there.
going to say.
Yeah.
On the sides of her hips there.
Yes.
Little holsters. And then she wears short shorts and a tank top.
Yes, that's it.
That's the video
But
game.
a very popular game series, and then
Oh, and a long braid.
Well, yes, it went away for about 10 years. I think after the movies kind of killed it, and then
Probably
it
more
was
than that, wasn't it?
resurgence in 2013 with the new Tomb Raider games.
And then they're channeling Uncharted at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were brutal games.
Very brutal.
Really solid, but
Solid,
now
though.
we're back with a video game movie, which we see so rarely. Honestly, at this point, maybe one every 2 years.
It's because video game movies have a history of not being good.
Yes, and we do have an episode about this, but let's talk immediately about Tomb Raider. So in this movie, we have the origin of Lara Croft, the Tomb Raider.
So
Lara
they don't,
Croft
they don't
begins.
reference anything earlier.
No,
Like,
no.
it just comes
This
in
is
fresh.
Lara Croft begins.
This is Jake.
Okay.
You played the rebooted game in 2013. This is essentially that
And the
game,
sequel,
except for there is a lot of background about who she is as a bike messenger and all this kind of stuff. How she basically gets to find her love of tombs and raiding, and that is it.
That's the story.
The journey for us all.
Yes.
So, Ken, why don't you start off with your review?
No, I want to start with you.
Okay.
All
I'll
right,
do
Joel.
mine.
Tell me what you thought.
So the issue... Okay, I'll just
this,
say...
this doesn't start well.
No, I have
The
an issue with the movie. And the issue is I expected Lara Croft to be Lara Croft. I don't want to see an origin story. And Lara Croft, to me, was always this kind of independent... She was super wealthy, first of all, but then she had this kind of almost secret life as a Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And she was just independent. She was strong. You never really, worried about her. You knew she was in control. In this movie, Alicia Vikander is like Tomb Girl, like you feel bad for her. Like she has no real background for the things she's supposed to do. She's a bike messenger and she can kickbox, which they show in the first few minutes of the movie. But then all of a sudden
and shoot arrows.
Yeah, I guess they shows that as a kid. But then every time she's in the forest, I'm like, oh, man, I don't feel like I felt bad for her. I'm like, oh, she just needs.
Now
she
you
needs
played
help.
the video game, right? Mm-hmm. The recent one, okay.
Yeah.
And they're channeling that a lot because that's what it shows like in the trailer.
They are.
Like,
but it just didn't feel like Tomb Raider to me. It felt like it should be a different genre, but then the people said it was a ripoff of Tomb Raider. But it also was very, very kind of by the numbers. Like you knew it was going to happen. There was a part I remember, I'll get it to the spoiler version, but there's a part where I'm like, oh, this is where this part of the story is going to take place. Oh, there it is. Mm-hmm. Whoop, there it is. And so it was
said very politely. There it is.
But here's the other issue I have with it is while you're feeling bad for this girl, you also know that everything is going to work out just fine. There's some tense moments maybe, but everything works out
with
in her
Boyd
favor.
Crowder.
With who?
Boyd Crowder
From Justified. Walton Goggins.
Goggins. Yeah.
Goggins.
We'll get to Walton Goggins.
Yeah. Overall, I just feel like it was okay. Alicia Vikander is a good actress. She doesn't get to show a lot of that in here. She mostly just kind of screams and falls and gets hurt for most of the movie. And I feel
that's the
like
video game, honestly. So
yeah, but I felt like it just.
Does she die and get to restart?
Yeah, you actually see a tree branch go impale her neck.
Oh, that is terrible in the video game.
It is so bad.
Like when she went in the river, I was like, no, not the river.
Or when she's going through the trees, you're like, oh,
yeah.
I died so many times here.
But overall, the video game would be more fun to play than the movie is to watch. So I give it 3 stars out of 5.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's a fun ride. There's plenty of like cool visuals. In regard to like the action that's going on, and there's some intense moments.
So as far as like comparison to other video game movies, do you feel
Jake,
like this
is where I'll take over.
Okay.
Yeah.
This may be the best video game movie of all time.
That's what I was wondering from what he's saying.
Better than Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. Dude,
because Mortal Kombat had the camp factor.
Joel, I love Mortal Kombat. I mean, when I was 12 or 13, whenever that came out, that was the movie because Street Fighter bombed so terribly. And you knew it at that age.
Yeah.
And that movie did well. It's aged terribly. And it's great for what it is. The camp is perfect.
Serious camp. And this one doesn't have camp. This is very straightforward.
This one is so straightforward. It really is just almost just an action movie and kind of a standard action movie.
It's like
that they played it pretty safe.
It's like when you go to the dollar store, Jacob, and you see the toy that's a knockoff of a toy you know. That's what this felt like. It was more generic. This was like Crypt Finder. Rather than Tomb Raider?
I want to call this one, I'm going to go off of what you said, like Tomb Girl or Lara Croft, Dawn of Tomb Raider. Because this really did feel like everything leading
goes
up.
back to DC.
Everything, it really does. Everything leading up to, because at the very end, she kind of becomes Indiana Jones or Nathan Drake.
Spoiler alert.
Right? Oh, but she dies, gets impaled by a train, and it's fine. Oh, yeah, no spoilers here. But, so I don't want to go too far into the plot here.
Yeah.
But there really is too much lead up. But I'm disagreeing with you on the point that when you see her being weak for most of the movie, because there's a transition, it's a character development. You know, when she becomes stronger by the end.
But does she?
I'd say she did because she's very smart. And so I'm giving this one actually pretty much right in line with Joel here. Probably a C plus B minus.
See, that's a little higher than I would say.
Yeah. So you'd say like a C. It's like a totally average.
Well, 3 to 5 is C plus, isn't it?
Well, it doesn't translate directly over because
Okay.
there's more options for Kent's than mine.
This sounds like they went sort of the way that they've been talking about doing with Tom Holland and Uncharted, right? Where they go back, explore like his youth, the beginnings, what led up to it. They just beat him to the punch with Tomb Raider, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's get the spoilers.
All right, spoilers.
Is there a Lara Croft song?
Tomb Raider.
Spoilers.
Okay, so here's the thing: the action in this movie, because
there's nothing really to
We're gonna spoil the
for
movie
me,
now.
right?
right?
Yeah, there's not much to spoil because you're going to know where this movie's going almost from the beginning.
I feel like there's a lot of wasted time, and Joel's going to agree with this one because like you see her in like a bike chase, and it just basically shows she's an aggressive woman.
It's a fun bike chase.
It's fun, but she's very proactive.
And you liked that? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying I like the character because she's independent. It is Lara Croft, even though this feels like a very young Lara Croft. And they waste a lot of time with like her chasing down some hoods, some hoodlums, I guess.
Yeah.
And getting chased on a bike and getting beat in a boxing match. And I'm going, okay, I get it. Take me to the jungle. And when it gets to the jungle, man, she gets her butt kicked. And
When it gets to the
it's cool.
When it gets to the mysterious island that is whatever they need it to be in the moment.
Yeah.
And don't really define how large it is or where
there's no
everything is in
scope.
relation to another. That was annoying, by the way. I was like, how did she cross all the way? No, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 20 feet, long, and then all of a sudden it's got like huge waterfalls and everything like that too.
Yeah.
Just whatever it needs to be.
Yeah. Magic Island.
Okay.
But it does, I mean, I think you'd be okay with it, Jacob, because it does feel a lot like the video game. And I know a lot of people will scoff at that and be like, oh, video game. But no, like visuals in that game and the adventure there.
I like that you said it's the best video game movie ever. C+.
It's true, though.
Yeah,
I know, but that's the truth.
What
Like, we
else
had a whole
could you
episode about
compare?
it.
Really?
Like I'm sitting here going like, oh, there's Assassin's Creed, which was ambitious. It was ambitious, and
didn't
that's
even
about all
see
I
that
can
one,
say about
yeah,
that.
I stopped watching it. I got bored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they went too far.
There are definite
The first
parts.
scene was even bad. Like
There are definite parts in this movie where you'll get bored. Like there's parts where it's like, okay, let's just move the plot along. Like Ken said, let's just get to the island already.
because
yeah.
it's hitting so many like cliches, right?
Yeah.
And
Like it really
just
does start
old
out.
Honestly,
ropes.
there's an Ark of the Covenant moment at the end, and I almost just like hit Joel in the side, like, really? Do we have to see this?
I didn't talk to Kent once during the entire movie.
I talked to you once.
He did talk to me once.
Yeah.
But
So
I was like,
I
"Not
broke my
again.
own rule.
Never again.
Yeah, which is fine. It's not the kind of movie. Honestly, there are some laughs here. Like I chuckled a few times. I don't even remember what at.
There were but there's humor, but the humor they do is not as smart as the rest of the movie. Like the rest of the movie's kind of like playing it like we know what we are. We're very serious. When they try to force in these jokes, you get kind of Cole Beale going
Yeah.
in the theater. But
It's not. It's one of those. That's too bad.
but it's only those occasional.
Yeah.
Hey, we need someone to punch up the script in here. Write a joke right here. Okay. They didn't really fit. I didn't think.
Yeah, it's just a standard action
Well, the
movie
video
where they're
game doesn't
going,
really have any humor, right? It's just
No.
it's grim.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. She dies.
It's very well. Even Nathan Drake, there's a sense of wry humor there
because he realizes his situation
Yeah,
at
yeah.
every point.
Yeah, but Lara Croft didn't have that. She's more kind of this is her job. This is what she does.
And the thing is, I almost wish she was like that because every 15 minutes she's put in another impossible situation that she needs to survive. And like Joel was saying, it's pretty predictable. And so you get pretty impatient that it's just kind of like, okay, now we have 10 to 15 minutes of talking of a predictable villain with Walton Goggins, who is, of
Right.
course, the villain. Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
like
the
as
guy-
soon as you see him, you're like, oh, he's the bad guy.
although I didn't hate his motivation.
No. All he wanted to do
So-
was get off the island.
In this movie, Jake, there is, so basically.
He's trapped on the island. I saw that in the trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lara Croft's dad is really wealthy man, disappeared 7 years ago. He's presumed dead, and he is basically going against this group called Trinity. There's a ton of exposition that's told twice in the movie, which is why did they do that? But there's a it's kind of like like an Assassin's Creed thing. There's a group called Trinity that is looking for relics that can destroy the world, basically new Nazis.
Okay.
And so
Sounds about right.
Basically, Walton, I want to call him Boyd Crowder, but Walton Goggins is working for them, but he doesn't really know why. And so he isn't like, I'm going to become godlike and I'm going to destroy the world. He's just like, I need to do my job. I need to find this tomb and you're going to help me do it. I actually kind of like that. It was really simple.
Well, you know what I really liked actually is that they kept leading it towards the supernatural. Like if you remember in the old Tomb Raider movies, it was like if once the planets align and they do this thing, they'll be able to travel in time, and it's all kind of supernatural. This kept leading up to a supernatural element, and then it kind of undercuts it at the end. I liked that, where I went, oh, they're going a little different here.
Here's what I didn't like, though, because there's many puzzles at the end of the movie, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But then they kind of go Da Vinci Code with it, where she just spins something like 3 times and goes, got it. And I'm like, no. Be intelligent about it. There's actually only one puzzle in the movie where it's like, okay, there was actually logic there, and she talked it out.
I guess, but I thought all the puzzles were lackluster. Almost every single one of them she either figured out too quickly,
Yes,
or there's no way she could have figured it out. There was no middle ground.
Because she becomes an expert in
Is that going to be
really
good
quick.
filmmaking though? If you're just watching her like tinker with a puzzle,
Yeah, I
like,
would think so.
Okay, so
15 minutes later, how do I do this?
A good way for them to do mysteries or puzzles in movies is to make the audience feel smarter than they are.
Yes.
Where they're like, not in the sense of like pandering to them, but the sense like they're along with the ride when you're like, oh, if I do this, then that means, and then you have a flashback of a picture and the audience is like, oh, I know where they go now. And then they proceed. Whereas this one, it's kind of like she whispers something at a doorway and it's like, colors. Oh, colors. Yeah. Okay. Colors. Life. Okay. Green. What? It's like, it made no sense whatsoever.
I mean, I got it, but you know.
No, I got it, but
Yeah.
I was kind of like, really?
Yeah, like it just came out of nowhere. Like that was in the ancient text that they never explained earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, I can't hate this movie. In fact, it's probably going to grow to like it more and more as time goes on.
I thought it was
because
fine.
Never at any point was I like, this is dreadful.
No,
like,
I didn't scoff.
Like, I would watch this with my stepdad all the time because this is his kind of movie.
And it's got Alicia Vikander.
Yes, and it has her as well. But it's just it's a straight up action movie. It's not super ambitious. In fact, it played it really safe by going off the most recent video game, which is fine for them, honestly. And I actually, to be honest with you, it ended and I went, I'd be happy if they made a sequel. I don't know if they ever will, but I would happy to see where this goes. And now that she is actually raiding tombs.
They probably will.
Yeah.
You think?
Because I think they should, because honestly, we didn't get to see Lara Croft in full action.
Right.
Like, she's still a girl raider.
Yes.
Tomb girl. Because she really, and that's the other thing is, like, once again, like I said, she was a bike messenger who could kickbox, and then she knew how to do arrows, but she doesn't have her fortune at this point. She's actually doing bike messaging to kind of make ends meet. And because she doesn't want to sign the papers that her dad is dead, so she doesn't want to get her inheritance.
They basically did this.
She doesn't want to admit her dad's dead?
Yeah, he's been missing for 7 years.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to sign the papers to get her inheritance.
But they did
Does
this.
she know that he can have it back if he's alive?
They kind of gloss over that, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure if she got the inheritance that he came back, there'd be some sort of clause in there. It would be like, I'm not dead.
And they do this whole thing, like,
Or if
honestly,
you're dead, here's your stuff.
early in the movie where she finds all of his stuff, like all the stuff he left behind. And by the way, it was so funny when it's like, by the way, burn all this information. And you're like,
I so wanted
That's
her
so
to.
telegraphed.
I so wanted her to just be like,
Yeah.
So, like, that's because the movie's no way it's going to do that.
But basically, he makes her a video and he was like, I finally found what I needed to do in life. And I hope you find what you need to do in life, because she is directionless. And that's what I kind of liked about the character. And then I'm like, and that's the only way she found out she liked raiding tombs, is that her dad was like, hope you like it too. And she's
but
like,
does
I do.
she like it? Like, does she have a motivation to do more?
By the end, she found it. When she went back into the room and she goes, okay, next journey.
Personally, if I went through what she went through there on the island, I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I've had a stick stabbed through my abdomen and been kicked around and shot a couple times.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, like, the blood and everything like that, because this movie is almost bloodless.
Yeah.
Except, I mean, honestly, she's pulling like branches out of her chest. She's
out
pulling
of her abdomen,
out of her side. Pulling branches.
He's not good with anatomy.
Yeah, I'm not good at that. Anyways, like, it doesn't show a lot of blood, but then you see people basically become zombified really quickly, and it's a little bit scary. I wonder for kids.
There's basically
it's this weird line.
It's a disease. Like, instead of being supernatural, it's a disease that turns you into kind of a zombie, essentially,
like a decaying crazy man.
Yeah. And I don't know. That was a little...
The rage virus.
Definitely disturbing, but yeah. Overall, like I said, it was fine, but it definitely wasn't one that I'd want to own. I'd rather play the video game than watch the movie.
I think that's the case for most video game movies, though.
And I think it's one of the issues... we talked about this in a whole episode, but I think one of the issues with video game movies is the fact that one of the best parts about these video game movies is playing it.
All right,
Yes.
do you recommend going to see it?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Sure.
Joel?
Yeah. I don't have anything against this movie.
I actually think you'll like it.
Well, I'll see it for sure.
Yeah, even though it's like really middle of the road, but slightly better than average.
And I may have to agree with you that, because they pulled all the camp out of this movie, and yet they made it, I don't know, still entertaining. Because some video game movies
that's the
try to go
formula
too
for the
serious.
video game, and it's worked. Right?
Yeah.
Her screaming and falling over and over again, right? That's the video game.
And honestly, you root for her the whole time. Like, because you realize
feel
it's
so
Alicia,
bad for her.
You realize it's Alicia Vikander kind of slumming it.
She's seriously just a punching bag in the video game, right? It's brutal.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing with most characters. I mean, I've killed Nathan Drake so many times in Uncharted.
Yeah, but
so many times.
I mean, I remember playing the reboot version of Tomb Raider, right? And it's like she's covered in blood all the time, and everything's like
well,
she
that's
falls
because
and
she has a
breaks.
sweat defect.
And branches
Yeah.
in her chest. So
Abdomen.
yeah, one of those. Anyways, I would say, like, we both recommend it, even though it is an okay movie.
But still, one of the better video game movies.
Also, see this definitely go see this instead of Wrinkle in Time.
Oh,
this is
please.
19 times better.
Yes. 19? I don't think the math
19.
works out that way.
I actually watched it. I really liked it. I'm not sure what you guys had a problem with.
Liar.
I'm lying.
You're such a liar.
Anyway, that's our Bacon Bit. Thanks for listening. Enjoy Tomb Raider. Enjoy the video game or enjoy the movie. Either way, we're happy. But thank you for listening to Bacon Cell. We know how to impress the ladies.
Ladies.